I think it's safe to say that everyone in this room right now could use either $10 million or a free ride to school, right? So if you become one of the more internationally competitive esports players, then that's insanely possible. So as we've all grown up in a time where technology is becoming more prevalent in what we do in our everyday life, and through my research for this speech, I've come to the conclusion that esports should be considered a more legitimate sport such as basketball or maybe soccer, because first and foremost, it can become incredibly profitable. It can, excuse me, more people are starting to watch less traditional sports, which leaves sort of an open space for them to want to still watch some kind of sport, and that can maybe take the place, excuse me, and that it has a huge and ever-growing fan base. So it has a massive fan base, oddly. And this picture is the bird's nest in Beijing, which I believe it was the 2008 Olympics were held in Beijing, and that was where they did the opening ceremony. And this past weekend, actually, there was a tournament, an esports tournament for a game called League of Legends there, which had, I want to say, roughly 78,000 people in attendance. So it's comparable to the Olympics because that stadium was filled. And so esports are generally viewed on this app called Twitch, which is the main medium for them. And if you go on that app, the top 10 games that are watched garner over 500,000 views daily, all day, which is a pretty big number. And then according to Paul Armstrong, a contributor at Forbes, one of the other recent World Championships, which had a few games like Counter-Strike Go, League of Legends, that had 173,000 people in attendance, which was actually record-breaking for live attendance. And then it also had 46 million viewers online, which was more than the presidential inauguration this past fall. And so after that, esports can actually be really profitable. So as you can see, it's estimated to become a $1 billion industry according to Paul It's estimated to become a $1 billion industry by the end of this year, which is obviously a lot of money. And we're all in college, and as you can see, you can actually get paid to go to school just for being on an esports team, which is just playing video games. So in the Journal of Adolescent and Adult Literacy, Hannah Gerber explained that over 40 universities are offering up to $4 million worth collectively for scholarships for esports. So how that works is, I actually have a friend that this happened to. They look at your stats in the games, like online, and if you apply to the colleges, they'll look at them, and if they're good enough and they have an esports team, they will possibly recruit you to their esports team to play for them. And obviously you'll get scholarships for it, and some people can actually get full rides, which is what my friend was offered for the game League of Legends again, which is one of the more popular games as of right now. And so this is a pie chart, of course, of the breakdown of the size of the market for esports in the year 2016. So as you can see, sponsorships and advertising take up a very large portion of it, almost 3/4 of it, and that is clearly the biggest part of it. And that's important for players because they can become very well off because they play video games for a living. So they can have mansions, $1 million everything. They're just worth too much money, basically. And thirdly, people are watching less sports across the board. So you may have heard that lately NFL ratings are down, and in the past 2 years, they are actually down 18.7%, which there's varying reasons for that, but the main point is that they're down 18.7%, which is a reasonably large amount. And so with that decrease in sports viewership, traditional sports viewership, I should say, that leaves an open space for people who are wanting to watch sports, but they're maybe just tired of watching the traditional sports. And being that we've become such a more technologically reliant society, people are turning more to the internet. Like there's a lot of people that are ditching cable and sticking with straight internet services. And so being that esports are generally viewed on the internet, this leaves a very wide opportunity for esports to take some of those viewers and have them stick to esports because that's where it's watched. And then, according to T.L. Taylor of the MIT Press, so a lot of people that watch sports, like football, et cetera, a lot of them don't actually play it. Some people refer to them as armchair referees, I think it is, or armchair coaches, whatever it is. But they never actually played the sports in their lives. They just really enjoy watching them. But the thing about esports is, video games are so easy to do. Like you can just download it and start to play it. So it becomes something that's much more easily relatable to people that are viewing, because with traditional sports, it's more of something that if you played it when you were young or you were born with it with the physical ability, which not everybody is, that leaves more to be desired. But with esports, pretty much anyone can do it because you can just download the game online. And so, in conclusion, I believe that esports should be considered more widely legitimate, in comparison to things such as soccer or maybe basketball, because it has a huge fan base already. As I said, it broke the live attendance record ever for a video game. And it's also incredibly profitable. Like I said, it's supposed to be up to $1 billion industry by the end of this year, 2017. And that, excuse me, and that viewership for traditional sports are widely decreasing across the board, and that leaves a lot left to be desired, and esports could very well be able to take that spot. Thank you all for your time. Have a good day.